The general relativity will start later, so it will start after, let me to see. Around 108, 170 or 150 page. After that, the book is around 300. So around at the page of 200, I think they will start at the general relativity. So very, very quickly, you can reach the mathematics of general relativity by this course. So in few page, you can read about the history, how they built the general relativity, what was the main idea, exactly what the history I told you. So then you can pass easily to define the general relativity. One thing, so this is these two books. One thing I want to tell you is that there is a book, because the formalism of the general relativity is based on the tensor algebra. So there are many books about the tensor and this thing, so I don't want to give the reference about that. One thing I want to tell you that some books, they started general relativity from the action principle, okay? And derive the equation of motion. Derive Einstein gravitational field equation. Einstein gravitational field equation. This is one approach. The second approach is that what? You just accepted the general relativity equation. That was the Einstein approach also. He didn't start it by the principle of action principle. I mean, he didn't write the action and make it minimized, as you know in the classical mechanics, and find the equation of motion, like Euler-Lagrange equations, but not for the particle, for the gravitational field. So the other approach is that just accept the general and build it. So actually build the Einstein field equation following basic principle. So we'll be following basic principle. Following the basic principle, you can build the general relativity. That was the approach which I started also to read like from here. So in one side you are, and Einstein started from here. Einstein was thinking that how to relate the matter to the geometry according to the Mach principle. If you 100 times ask me again, I will repeat that. That was the starting point. To think that how to, and the equivalence principle also, and the other principle. But you have the equation. So equation has two sides. On one side you have to put your matter. So you already know that what is the candidate to include the matter. Energy momentum tensor will be the candidate. So all the information over the matter and energy should sit in the T, energy momentum tensor. But how this matter can make for me the geometry? How I can define the geometry? So you needed to know about the basic principle of differential geometry. And what quantity will be correspond to this kind of the matter field. So make the balance this equation took time from the Einstein to find his equation of the Einstein equation, field equation. In one side you have a matter, in the other side you have a geometry. So because I want to keep it the style of the book, so we will use the Inverno approach, and we use the Inverno, so we will derive the equation of motion or according to the action principle. Just I want to draw a graph for you, and so general relativity. This is here GR. Here we have a Newton gravity, Newtonian gravity at the weak field. So also if you go from the general covariant frame to the just inertial frames, you get a special relativity, yes? Yes. Just to pass the inertial frame. Forget about the acceleration. And I want to tell you that actually it seems that the Newton gravity plus special relativity, so and plus equivalence principle, it gives you the general relativity. So you can write it in Newton mechanics. So the theory between Newton and mechanics. In the presence of in the absence of gravity. For example, a fast relativistic particle, you cannot describe the motion of the fast relativistic particle. Relativistic means with the fastest speed in the uniform gravitational field, according to the special relativity. You cannot describe that because existence of the acceleration pass you to that. So you can have a Newton mechanics and make software of that. Or you can have a special relativity but no absence of gravity. So gravity comes here. So this is the frameworks for that. I think we can still stop. Thank you very much.